Hey, horror fans. Before you fill up, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment with your city and what time you're watching. This helps YouTube bring you more nightmare-fueled stories like these. Tonight, we're pulling into 8 true gas station horror stories, unearthed from the darkest corners of Reddit. From graveyard shift workers to late-night travelers, these chilling encounters happened under flickering lights, behind quiet counters, and out by the pumps, where danger lurks in the silence. Whether it's shadowy figures watching from the lot, or strangers who just won't leave, these stories will make you think twice before your next late-night stop. So, keep your doors locked, leave the engine running, and let's dive in. Because sometimes the real terror begins when you pull over.
Story 1. The Whispering Void at Midnight. Pump It was a hot summer night in 2018, out in the middle of nowhere, Texas. The kind of night where the stars look too bright, like they're watching you. Jake was a truck driver, tall and strong, with rough hands from years on the road. He hauled goods from coast to coast, sleeping in his cab most nights. But this run felt off from the start. His radio kept cutting out, playing static that sounded like far-off whispers. He shook it off as bad signal, but deep down, his gut twisted. Jake pulled into the old gas station around midnight. The sign flickered. Last stop, gas open 24/7. It was the only light for miles, surrounded by flat desert that stretched forever under a black sky. No other cars, no people, just the hum of the pumps and the buzz of bugs hitting the lamps. He needed fuel and coffee to stay awake for the next leg to Albuquerque. As he stepped out of his truck, the air felt thick, like breathing through a wet cloth. The ground crunched under his boots, but not like gravel, more like tiny bones, snapping. He ignored it and grabbed the nozzle, sliding it into his tank. The pump clicked on, numbers rolling slow. That's when he heard it first, a low whisper, like wind through cracks, but words he couldn't make out. He looked around. The station store was small, with dirty windows showing shelves of snacks and a counter. No clerk in sight. "Hello," he called. But only echo came back. Shrugging, he finished fueling and headed inside for that coffee. The doorbell jingled, but it sounded wrong, like a distant scream cut short. Inside, the air was colder, smelling of old oil and something metallic, like blood. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting shadows that danced when he wasn't looking. Behind the counter, a mirror reflected the empty store, or was that a shape in the corner? Jake poured black coffee from a pot that looked like it hadn't been cleaned in weeks. Steam rose, but it didn't warm him. As he sipped, the whispers started again, clearer now. "Come ... closer, see the stars fall." He spun around. Nothing but the radio on the counter, which he hadn't noticed before, crackled to life. No music, just voices overlapping, talking about things that didn't make sense. The void opens. The elders awaken. Gas for the journey. Beyond ... double quotes, heart pounding. Jake set down the cup. Who's there? This ain't funny. He checked the back room, empty. Just boxers and a dusty calendar from 1995. Outside, his truck sat alone, but the desert seemed darker. Stars blinking out one by one. He paid with cash left in the register drawer, no one to take it, and hurried out. But as he reached his truck, the ground shook slight, like an earthquake far away. Sand shifted, revealing cracks that glowed, faint blue. From those cracks, the whispers grew louder, calling his name. "Jake, ... join us ... The cosmic door waits, ... panic hit him. He jumped in the cab, key in ignition. The engine roared, but wouldn't turn over. Lights flickered. Through the windshield, he saw the gas station sign twist, letters changing to strange symbols that hurt his eyes. The pump's hoses writhed like snakes, spilling not gas, but inky black liquid that ate into the concrete dot in the rearview mirror. Shapes moved, tall, thin figures with too many arms, skin like starless night. They glided from the shadows, eyes glowing like distant galaxies. One reached for the door, its touch frosting the glass. Jake slammed the starter again. This time, it caught. He floored it, tires spinning, kicking up dust. As he sped away, the whispers followed in his head, promising eternal night. He drove all night, not stopping till dawn. When he looked back later, maps showed no gas station there, just empty desert. But the whispers, they never fully stopped. Every night, under the stars, he hears them calling. Jake had been driving for 12 hours straight. His eyes burned from the glare of the sun earlier, now from the dark. He thought about his ex-wife, Sarah, who left because he was always gone. "You live on the road, not with me," she said. That hurt, but the road was his life. Tonight, it felt like a curse. The gas station appeared like a ghost. He almost missed it, hidden behind a dune. Pulling in, he noticed the pumps were old-fashioned, with mechanical dials instead of digital. Weird for 2018, but out here, time moved slow. Inside the store, shelves held cans of beans from brands he didn't know, labels faded, a rack of magazines from the 80s, covers yellowed. The coffee pot gurgled, brew thick as tar. As he poured, a drop splashed, and in the ripple, he saw a face not his, but something with no eyes, just voids. He shook his head, too tired, he muttered, but the whispers started soft, like radio static. He turned on the store's old TV. Snow on screen, but through it, images of stars exploding, planets cracking. Outside, wind picked up, but no dust moved. The sky darkened more, stars not twinkling, but pulsing like hearts. He paid, leaving a 10 on the counter. As he walked out, the door stuck, then swung open with a groan like old wood in a haunted house. At the truck, he felt eyes on him. Turning, the station looked bigger, windows like eyes staring back. The ground cracks widened, blue light pulsing. From them, tendrils of shadow rose, wrapping around the pumps. Jake's heart raced. Memories flooded. As a kid, he feared the dark, thinking monsters hid under beds. Now, it felt real. He climbed in, but the key slipped from sweaty hands. Picking it up, he saw in the side mirror a figure tall, cloaked in night, face hidden under a hood that showed only stars inside. The engine sputtered. "Come on," he yelled. The figure approached, hand outstretched, fingers long as branches. Touching the truck, metal creaked, rust spreading fast. Finally, it started. He peeled out, rear view showing the station shrank, but the figures multiplied, swarming like insects. Miles later, he stopped at a diner, told the waitress. She laughed. That place burned down in '95. Ghost station, they call it. Folks see it, but it's not there. Jake never drove that route again. But nights, dreams of cosmic voids pulling him in, gothic spires of black stone rising from desert, horrors waiting. Jake's truck rumbled along the empty highway, the only sound, the tires humming on asphalt. He wiped sweat from his brow, despite the cool night air seeping through the cracks in the cab. His mind wandered to better times, fishing with his dad as a boy, the quiet of the lake at dawn. But those memories felt distant now, overshadowed by the growing unease in his chest. The gas gauge needle hovered near empty. "Damn," he whispered. He hadn't seen a town in hours. Then, like an answer to a prayer he didn't make, lights appeared ahead. The gas station sat there, a lonely beacon in the sea of dark desert. The sign, "Last Stop Gas," open 24/7, flickered, as if struggling to stay lit. Jake pulled in, gravel crunching under the wheels. He killed the engine and stepped out. The air was still, too still. No wind, No animal sounds. Just the click of the cooling engine and his own breathing. The pumps stood like sentinels, their hoses dangling like limp limbs. He grabbed one, inserted it into the tank, and flipped the lever. Gas flowed, but the smell was off. Not the usual sharp petroleum, but something sweet and rotten, like decayed fruit. While the tank filled, Jake glanced at the store. Through the grimy windows, he saw dim lights and shadows. Number 1 inside. Probably on break, he thought. But a chill ran down his spine. Something about this place felt wrong, like it didn't belong. The pump clicked off. He hung it up and walked to the store. The door was heavy, wood warped from years of sun. It creaked open, bell tinkling faintly. Inside, the air was colder, heavy with dust and that metallic temps. Shelves lined the walls, stocked with odd items, cans labeled in languages he didn't recognize. Candy bars with wrappers from another era. Behind the counter, an old cash register sat open, empty. No clerk. "Hello, anyone here?" His voice echoed, bouncing off the walls. No answer. He spotted the coffee machine in the corner, pot half full. He grabbed a styrofoam cup and poured. The liquid was black, steaming, but when he sipped, it tasted bitter, like ashes. That's when the whispers began. Soft at first, like a breeze through leaves. But there were no trees here. Listen, ... see. The stars call. The words formed in his mind, not his ears. He set the cup down, spilling some. The puddle on the counter moved, forming shapes, a spiral, like a galaxy. Jake backed away. This ain't right. He turned to leave, but the door was locked. He jiggled the handle, pushed hard. Nothing. Panic rose. He banged on the glass. "Hey, let me out." From the back room, a noise, shuffling feet. He froze. A figure emerged. Old man in a faded uniform, face wrinkled like old leather, eyes milky white. "You heard them, eh?" The man said, voice raspy. "Who? What is this place?" Jake demanded. The old man smiled, teeth yellow. "The last stop, where the world ends and the void begins. The stars whisper secrets, boy, cosmic truths that drive men mad." Jake felt cold sweat. "Open the door, now." The man laughed, a sound like cracking glass. "You can't leave. They chose you." Outside, the sky changed. Stars fell, streaking like tears. The ground trembled. Cracks opened, blue light spilling out. From them, things crawled, creatures with bodies of shadow, eyes like black holes sucking. Light. Jake rammed the door with his shoulder. It gave way. He ran to his truck, feet sinking in sand that now felt like quicksand. The old man watched from the window, still laughing. In the cab, key turned, engine dead. The creatures approached, whispers loud now. "Join the eternal night. See the Gothic towers of the ancients, in the cosmos, ... Please, God," he prayed, trying again. Engine roared. He hit the gas, running over one creature. It splattered like ink, reforming behind, driving away. The road seemed longer, station not fading fast. In the mirror, the old man waved, face now a skull with star eyes. He drove till sunup, stopping at a motel. Slept with lights on, but dreams came, cosmic journeys through Gothic realms. Gas stations, floating in space, horrors, whispering his name. Years later, Jake quit trucking, lives in a city, never drives at night, but on clear nights, he hears the whispers, feels the pull. The last stop waits, haunting him forever. As Jake sped down the highway, heart still racing, he glanced at his hands on the wheel. They trembled, and something was wrong. Veins glowed faint blue, like the cracks in the ground. No, just imagination, he told himself, but the whispers lingered, soft but insistent. "We are with you, ... always ... He turned on the radio to drown them. Static. Then a song from his wedding, Forever and Ever. Sarah's favorite. Tears stung his eyes. Why now? He muttered. Flashback to the crash. Rainy night. Tommy laughing in the back seat. A deer in the road. Swerve. Flip. Screams. Then silence. Hospital. Sarah screaming. It's your fault. The memory faded as the road curved. Ahead. Another light. No. The same station. He blinked. It was gone. Illusion. Hours passed. He reached a town, pulled into a diner. Inside, warm lights, smell of burgers. The waitress, Betty, poured coffee. You look like hell. Sugar. You wouldn't believe me, he said. Try me. Seen lots. Out here. He told her everything. Her face paled. The ghost station. Legend says it was built in the 1800s by a mad architect who worshipped stars. Gothic style, but in desert. One night, sky opened, took everyone. Now it appears to the lost, feeding on fear to open the cosmic gate. Jake shivered. True, she nodded. My grandpa saw it, never the same after. Heard whispers, till he died. Jake left, unsettled. Back on the road, the blue in his veins spread. At a rest stop, he washed his face. Mirror showed eyes with specks of stars. That night in a motel, he dreamed, floating in space, approaching a massive structure, a gas station enlarged, with Gothic arches, stained glass windows, showing horrors. Inside, creatures welcomed him. Brother, come home. He woke screaming. Checked out, drove home to Ohio. Sarah was remarried, but he called. I saw things, changed me. She hung up. Months later, the whispers grew. He saw shadows in corners, stars falling in daytime. Doctors said stress, but Jake knew the void marked him. One night, he drove back to the desert. The station waited. He pulled in, ready to join. The old man greeted, welcome back. Jake stepped into the cracks, blue light engulfing. The cosmic Gothic horror claimed him, haunting the road for others. Story 2. The Shadow in the Foggy Bane, the fall of 2020. Along the misty shores of Maine, Lisa and Mark, a young couple from Boston, drove their beat-up sedan on a weekend getaway. They were in love, full of dreams, and chasing the quiet of the coast. The road twisted through pine forests, the air thick with salt and fog. Their map app died an hour back, no signal. So they followed old road signs. Around midnight, low on gas, they spotted a flickering neon sign, Bayview Gas open, all night. It looked wrong, like a house pretending to be a station, but they had no choice. The station squatted by a cliff, waves crashing below. Its walls were dark wood, carved with strange patterns, like eyes watching. Gothic windows glowed, faint yellow, fog curling around, like ghostly fingers. 2 pumps stood out front, rusted hoses coiled like sleeping snakes. No other cars, no people. Just the hum of the sign, and the sea's endless roar. Lisa, with her curly hair tucked under a scarf, shivered as she stepped out. This place gives me the creeps, she whispered. Mark, always brave, laughed it off. Just an old station. Let's fill up and go. But his eyes darted to the shadows. Mark pumped gas. The smell sharp and sour, not like normal fuel. The numbers on the pump spun backward, then forward, glowing green. Lisa frowned. Mark, look at that. He shrugged, but his hand shook. Inside, Lisa went for snacks, hoping for a friendly face. The store was cold, air heavy with dust, and something sweet, like rotting flowers. Shelves held odd things, jars of cloudy liquid, maps of places that didn't exist. A cracked mirror behind the counter showed Lisa's reflection, but her eyes were wrung, glowing like stars. She gasped, backing away. The bell above the door hadn't rung when she entered, but now it screamed, sharp and quick. Who's here? She called. No answer. A radio crackled, spitting static and words. The fog hides them. The shadows walk, join the bays. Embrace ... Double quotes. Lisa's heart raced. She grabbed a soda, left cash, and hurried out. Outside, Mark stared at the fog. It moved against the wind, forming shapes, tall, thin figures, with no faces, just voids where faces should be. "Lisa, you see that?" he whispered. She nodded, grabbing his arm. The fog thickened, swallowing the road. The station's windows pulsed, light shifting from yellow to deep purple, like a bruise on the sky. "Let's go," Lisa urged, but the car wouldn't start. The key turned, engine silent. Shadows in the fog grew closer, their whispers filling the air. "Stay. See the stars. Truth. ... Mark slammed the dashboard. "Come on." Lisa remembered her grandma's stories about Maine's haunted coast, where old sailors spoke of a station that appeared in fog, a gate to a place beyond the stars. "It's cursed," she said. "We need to leave, now." They got out, planning to run, but the fog was a wall, heavy and cold. It pushed them back toward the station. A figure appeared at the door, an old woman, face pale as bone, eyes black as the sea. "You can't leave," she said, voice like breaking glass. "The Bay chose you. The shadows need hosts." Mark pulled Lisa behind him. "Stay away." He threw a rock, but it passed through her, hitting the wall, which bled black ooze. The pumps shook, hoses rising, spraying not gas, but a liquid that burned the ground, revealing cracks glowing with starlight. Lisa screamed. The shadows lunged, hands cold as space, grabbing her scarf. Mark tackled one, but it dissolved, reforming behind. "Run," he yelled. They sprinted to the cliff's edge, fog parting to show a drop to the sea. Behind, the station grew, walls, stretching like a Gothic cathedral, spires piercing the sky. In desperation, Mark kicked the car's tire. It roared to life. They jumped in, speeding through the fog. Shadows chased, their forms stretching miles, like giants from another world. The radio screamed, "You belong to the void." Miles later, the fog lifted. The station was gone, road clear. They stopped at a diner, shaking. The cook, an old man, heard their story. "That's the Bayview ghost. Been there since the 1800s, built by a cult who worshipped stars. They vanished one night. Fog took em. Now it traps souls for the cosmic dark." Lisa and Mark never returned to Maine, but at night, fog brings whispers, and their dreams show a station waiting. Shadows calling them back to the Bay's eternal. Night. Lisa and Mark met in college, both art majors, dreaming of a gallery in Boston. Lisa painted oceans, Mark sculpted strange figures. Their love was new, fragile, tested by this trip. The fog felt personal, like it knew their fears. Lisa's, of being trapped, Mark's of failing her. As Mark pumped gas, the air grew colder, smelling of salt and decay. The pump's numbers flickered, showing not gallons but symbols, circles, spirals, like galaxies. Lisa's scarf fluttered, though no wind blew. She clutched it, remembering her grandma's warning. Fog hides the old god's doors. Inside, the store's floor creaked, boards warped like they'd been underwater. A clock ticked backward. Lisa's reflection in the mirror now showed her face melting into stars. She dropped the soda, glass shattering, liquid hissing like acid. The old woman appeared from the back, gliding, not walking. Her dress was tattered lace, Gothic and old, like a widow from a lost century. "The Bay sings for you," she said. "The shadows need warm blood to cross." Lisa ran, door slamming behind her. Outside, Mark saw the fog form a face, huge, eyeless, mouth a black hole. He yanked the hose out, black liquid splashing his hand, burning like ice. The car still wouldn't start. Shadows emerged, tall as trees, bodies shifting like smoke, eyes glowing like dying stars. They ran toward the cliff, fog pushing back. Lisa saw visions, a cosmic ocean, Gothic ships sailing to a sun that screamed. Mark pulled her, but a shadow grabbed his leg, cold so deep it numbed his soul. He kicked free, skin marked with star-shaped burns. Back at the car, it started. They drove, shadows chasing, their whispers now screams, "You're ours." The station spires loomed in the mirror, growing, as if the building followed. At the diner, the cook's story chilled them. That station's a rift. Cult built it to call their gods. Fogs their breath, shadows their scouts. You escaped, but they marked you. Lisa and Mark moved inland, avoiding fog. But on misty nights, they see shadows in mirrors, hear whispers of a bay where stars drown, waiting to claim them. Story number 3, The Cursed Pump of Eternal Night. In the biting winter of 2021, Emily, a 24-year-old nurse with tired eyes and a heavy heart, drove her rattling pickup through the empty Nebraska plains. Snow dusted the road, the wind howling like a ghost crying for home. She'd just finished a 12-hour shift at the hospital, her hands still smelling of antiseptic, her mind numb from seeing too much pain. The gaslight blinked red, a warning she couldn't ignore. Then, a sign flickered through the dark. Eternal. Night gas, fuel, and rest. It was the only light in the vast, lonely night, but it looked wrong, like a Gothic church left to decay. With sharp spires and windows black as death, she pulled into the lot, tires crunching on snow that seemed to whisper back. The station sat in a hollow, field stretching endless around it, barren and silent. Its walls were dark wood, carved with spirals, and eyes that watched her every move. 3 pumps stood like old soldiers, rusted, their hoses dangling like dead snakes. A low hum pulsed from the ground, like a heart beating slow and deep. Emily zipped her jacket, her breath fogging, the air thick with frost and a sour smell, like milk gone bad. She grabbed the pump's nozzle, cold biting through her gloves. It stuck, resisting, as if it didn't want her touch. When it gave gas, flowed, but the smell was wrong, thick, metallic, like blood fresh from a wound. The pump's dial spun wild, numbers glowing red. Then flipping 2 strange symbol stars twisted into knots, circles with teeth. "What in the world?" she muttered, heart thumping. She glanced at the store, hoping for a clerk, but its windows were dark, glowing faint, like a dying fire. Inside, the air was colder, heavy with dust and decay, like a tomb opened after centuries. Shelves held odd things, cans with no labels, a jar of what looked like human teeth, glinting under a flickering bulb. Shadows danced on the walls, moving when she didn't. A cracked mirror behind the counter showed her face, but her eyes were wrong black, leaking light like stars falling. She gasped, stepping back, knocking over a rack of postcards. They spilled, showing not places, but voids endless dark with glowing shapes, like creatures swimming in space. "Who's there?" she called, voice trembling. No answer, just a hum from the walls, like a machine waking up. A radio on the counter crackled, spitting static and words. "The pump feeds. The night takes. Join the eternal dark." Her stomach knotted. She grabbed a water bottle, tossed a crumpled 5 on the counter, and turned to leave. The door wouldn't move. She pushed, pulled, slammed her fist. "Let me out." From the back, footsteps creaked slow, deliberate, on old wood. An old man stepped out, thin as a skeleton, in a tattered coat that smelled of earth. His eyes were burned-out stars, glowing faint. "You fed the pump," he rasped, voice like dry leaves. "Now it knows your name." "What's that mean?" Emily demanded, backing up, her boots scraping the floor. He smiled, teeth sharp as needles. "This ain't just a station. It's a mouth, built on cursed ground, where night gods sleep. The pump drinks fear, opens the way for them. You're marked now." Emily's mind raced to her dad's old story stales of Nebraska plains where settlers vanished, leaving only whispers in the wind. She thought they were just bedtime scares. Now, they felt real. "You're crazy," she said, voice shaking. "Open the door." He laughed, a sound like bones snapping. "Can't leave what's claimed." Outside, the pumps rattled, hoses twisting like worms, waking up. Black liquid oozed from them, pooling on the ground, forming shapes, hands, reaching, faces screaming, eyes blinking. The sky darkened, stars fading, replaced by a pulsing red glow, like a wound bleeding light. The old man's laugh grew louder. "They're waking." Emily threw herself at the door. It burst open, cold air rushing in like a slap. She ran to her truck, snow crunching, but the ground cracked under her, glowing red like the pump's dial. Shadows rose from the crack stall, thin, with too many arms, bodies like smoke swirling, eyes like suns going dark. They whispered her name, Emily, ... Feed the night, ... She scrambled into the truck, keys slipping from shaky hands. The engine coughed, died. Shadows pressed against the windows, their touch frosting the glass, leaving burns shaped like stars. "No," she screamed, turning the key again. The engine roared. She slammed the gas, tires spinning, kicking up snow and dirt as she sped away. The station's spires stretched, clawing the sky like a gothic beast. In the rear view, the old man stood, waving, his face now a skull with glowing eyes. The whispers chased her, loud in her mind. "You're ours, ... The pump never forgets, ... She drove for hours, heart pounding, until she reached a small-town diner, its warm lights a lifeline. Inside, she sipped coffee, hands still shaking. The cook, a grizzled woman with kind eyes, listened to her story. "That's the Eternal Night Station," she said, voice low. "Old tales say a preacher built it in the 1870s, mad with visions of star gods. He cursed the land, made a deal with things from beyond. It shows up for the lost, feeds on fear, to open a gate to their world." Emily drove home to Lincoln, swearing off that road. But at night, she sees red glows in her dreams, hears pumps humming, feels shadows watching from corners. Sometimes, her hands glow faint red, like the pump's light. She checks her mirrors, scared of seeing spires in the dark. The cursed pump marked her, and the eternal night is waiting, hungry for her return. Story number 4, Whispers from the Underground Tanks. Summer 2022 clung to Oklahoma like a fever. The air sticky and heavy as Mia, 19, drove her rusty hatchback through the dark back roads toward Tulsa. She'd run from a broken home, Dad's fists, Mom's silence, carrying just a backpack and hope for a new life. The sky was black, no stars, only a thick darkness that pressed on her windshield. Her gaslight glowed red, urgent, when a faded sign flickered. Deep, hollow gas, last chance fuel. The station looked wrong, like a Gothic manor, crumbling under time's weight, its wooden walls sagging, windows cloudy, like blind eyes, staring. Mia's gut twisted, but with no towns for miles, she pulled in. The lot was cracked, weeds pushing up like bony fingers. 2 pumps leaned crooked, hoses stained, coiled tight like snakes. A rumble came from below, not thunder, but alive, like a beast breathing deep underground. Mia stepped out, sneakers crunching gravel that sparkled like crushed bones. The air smelled of oil and rot, sweet like dead flowers. "Just gas and go," she whispered, heart pounding. She grabbed the nozzle, cold as ice through the summer heat. It fought her, sticking, then gave way. Dark liquid flowed, smelling of copper and decay, not gas. The pump's display flickered numbers, jumped, then formed words. "Feed us, ... join the deep, ... Mia yanked the nozzle, splashing her hand. It burned, not hot but cold, leaving black veins crawling under her skin. She stared, breath catching. This ain't right. Inside the store, the air was colder, thick with dust and a hum like trapped voices. Shelves held rusty cans, labels. "Gone," and a glass case with rocks that pulsed green, like tiny hearts. A cracked counter held a radio, silent but glowing red. Mia's reflection in a dusty mirror showed her face, then another. Behind her, eyeless, smiling with jagged teeth. She spun, heart racing. Nothing. "Hello," she called, voice small. The hum grew, words forming. "The tank hungers." The whispers call, ... She grabbed a soda, hands shaking, left a crumpled 5, and ran to the door. It stuck, handle rattling like dry bones. From a dark corner, a figure stepped out, a woman, old and hunched, in a tattered dress like funeral lace. Face pale as moonlight, eyes like oil pools. "You woke the tank," she hissed, voice cutting. "It's been waiting." "What's down there?" Mia asked, throat tight. The woman's grin cracked her lips, the deep ones. "This station's on their grave, built in 1880 by folk who heard whispers from the void, gothic dreams of starless dark. The tank holds their blood, drinks yours to open the gate." Mia's mind flashed to her grandma's tales, Oklahoma's haunted earth, where old gods slept in pits, their whispers luring the lost. Just stories, she'd thought. Now, fear clawed her chest. "Let me out," she said, voice breaking. The woman laughed, sharp as shattering glass. "You fed it. You're theirs." Outside, the ground shook, cracks splitting, glowing green like poisoned fire. Pumps sprayed black ooze, forming claws, faces, things with no name. The sky churned, clouds, swirling into a spiral, like a mouth in the heavens. "They're here," the woman said. Mia slammed the door, wood splintering, and ran to her car. The ground pulsed, cracks widening, whispers loud. "Mia, ... stay ... feed the deep ... Shadows rose from below, tall, twisted bodies, like liquid. Night, eyes green, and countless, like stars in a dead sky. One touched her arm, cold, burning, leaving star-shaped marks. She dove into the car, keys slipping. The engine sputtered, died. Shadows pressed the windows, their whispers screaming her. Fear's dad's anger, mom's tears, her loneliness. "No," she yelled, turning the key. The car roared. She floored it, tires screeching, the station shrinking in the mirror. Shadows chased, gliding over fields, whispers in her head. "You can't leave. The tank knows you. ... Miles later, she stopped at a truck stop, hands trembling as she sipped water. A trucker, face weathered, overheard. "Deep Hollow," he said. "Built over a pit, where star worshippers spilled blood to call their gods. The tank's their prison, but it leaks, whispers to the lost. You escaped, but you're marked." Mia reached Tulsa, started her job, but safety felt fake. At night, she hears rumbles, sees green glows in mirrors, feels black veins pulse. The underground tank whispers, its gothic hunger waiting to pull her back to the dark. Story number 5. The Star Reader at the Counter in the chilly fall of 2023. Caleb, a 17-year-old dropout with grease-stained hands and a knack for fixing engines, roared his patched-up motorcycle through Nevada's empty desert. He was headed to Vegas, chasing a garage job, his only plan to escape a life of dead-end towns. The night was cold, the sky a black sea, stars sharp like needles. His gas tank was nearly dry when a neon sign flickered. Starlight Fuel open late. The station looked wrong, a gothic ruin of stone walls crumbling, windows like empty sockets glowing dim orange, no lights for miles. Caleb's gut churned, but he pulled in, dust swirling around his tires. The lot was cracked, scattered with pebbles that glinted like tiny eyes. A single pump stood, its hose thick, heavy, like a sleeping python. A hum pulsed, not from machines, but alive, like a growl from deep space. Caleb kicked down his bike's stand, the air biting with burnt metal and a sour stench, like old blood. "Fill up and bounce," he muttered, rubbing cold hands. He grabbed the nozzle, icy through his gloves. Gas flowed, but it shimmered black, sparkling like a night sky. The pump's screen blinked, not gallons, but words. Feed the eater, join the stars, ... Caleb froze, heart pounding. The liquid splashed his boot, burning cold, leaving a mark like a tiny constellation. He yanked the nozzle out, hands shaking. Inside the store, the air was freezing, thick with dust and a sweet, rotting smell. Shelves held jars of glowing dust, maps of nowhere, a clock ticking backward. A counter sat under a flickering bulb, scratched with symbol spirals, stars, claws. Caleb's reflection in a cracked mirror showed his face, then another, overlaid eyeless, with holes leaking light. He stepped back, breath catching. "Who's there?" he called. No answer, but a radio hummed, spitting static and words. "The eater wakes. Stars fall. ... Give your light. ... He grabbed a candy bar, tossed $1, and turned to leave. The door was locked, handle cold as death. From behind the counter, a shufflecloth dragging on stone. A figure rose, tall, thin, in a ragged coat, face in shadow, eyes glowing like moons. "You fed the pump," it said, voice deep, like a cave. "The Star Reader sees you." "What's that mean?" Caleb asked, sneakers squeaking as he backed up. The figure leaned forward, face splitting into a grin of sharp starlit teeth. "This station's a mouth, built on a crack to the void. In 1890, star worshippers carved it, called the Eater from beyond. It hungers for light her soul's light." Caleb's mind flashed to his grandpa's tales, Nevada deserts, hiding curses, places where the sky ate men whole. Just stories, he'd thought. Now fear clawed him. "Let me out," he said, voice breaking. The figure laughed, like stars exploding. "You're marked." Outside, the pump shook, hose spraying black light, burning the ground, opening cracks glowing white, like dying stars. The sky twisted, stars falling, forming a face-eyeless mouth, wide swallowing light. Shadows poured from cracks, tall, fluid, claws like comets, eyes blazing white. They whispered Caleb, "Give your light. ... He rammed the door, wood splintering, and ran to his bike. The ground pulsed, cracks spreading. Shadows grabbed his leg, cold searing, leaving galaxy-shaped burns. He kicked free, jumped on. The key turned, engine dead. The figure stood at the door, now a mass of shadow, its mouth a void sucking light. "You can't run," it said. Caleb tried again, engine roaring. He sped off, dust flying, the station shrinking. In the mirror, shadows chased, whispers loud. "The Eater knows you. ... Stars fell, winking out. By dawn, he reached a diner, hands shaking as he drank soda. A waitress, old and wiry, heard his story. "Starlight fuel," she said, "built by a cult praying to a sky thing. It shows up, takes souls to feed the Eater. You escaped, but it marked you." Caleb reached Vegas, started his job, but nights bring terror. Stars watch, mirrors show glowing eyes, his burns pulse white. The Star Eater waits, its gothic hunger, calling him back to the counter. Story #6, Gothic Ghosts of Forgotten Travelers in the Damp Spring of 2024. Tara, a 22-year-old college student with a broken heart, drove her beat-up sedan through Kentucky's forgotten backroads, headed to her aunt's farm. She'd left her cheating boyfriend, her dorm, her old life, carrying only a duffel bag and a need to escape. The night was heavy, fog curling like ghostly hands, the sky gray, hiding the moon. Her gas tank was nearly empty when a sign flickered, "Travelers. Rest gas open, always." The station looked wrong, a gothic relic of mossy brick, its tall, arched windows glowing faint blue, like a church left to rot. No cars, no lights for miles. Tara's heart pounded, but she pulled in, tires crunching wet gravel. The lot was wild, vines choking two old pumps, their hoses stiff like bones. A moan hung in the air, not wind, but human, like a cry trapped in time. Tara stepped out, sneakers sinking in mud, the air thick with damp earth and a coppery temps, like old pennies. "Just gas and go," she whispered, shivering in her thin jacket. She grabbed the nozzle, cold as a grave, and pumped gas. The liquid was dark, glinting like oil under moonlight, smelling of metal and rot. The pump's dial spun, showing numbers, then words. "Stay. Join the lost." Tara dropped the nozzle, splashing her jeans, the liquid burning cold, leaving gray marks like fingerprints. Her hands shook as she stared. Inside the store, the air was icy, thick with mildew and a sweet stench, like dead roses. Shelves held dusty bottles, labels gone, and a jar of coins glowing softly, like trapped fireflies. A chandelier flickered, casting shadows that danced like figures. Tara's reflection in a cracked mirror showed her face than others, pale, eyeless faces crowding behind. She gasped, spinning, but the room was empty. "Anyone here?" she called, voice shaking. A radio hummed, spitting static and voices. "The travelers wait. The ghosts call. ... Join the rest. ... She grabbed a water bottle, left $1, and ran to the door. It was locked, handle rattling like teeth. From a dark stairwell, footsteps echoed slow, dragging. An old man appeared, in a tattered suit, face gaunt, eyes like fogged glass. "You fueled their rest," he said, voice a sigh. "The travelers want you." "Who?" Tara asked, heart racing. He smiled, lips thin as paper. "The forgotten. This station's their tomb, built in 1860 by wanderers who prayed to the night. Gothic hearts bound to a cursed road. They take travelers to stay forever." Tara's mind flashed to her grandma's tales, Kentucky roads, where ghosts of lost souls lingered, trapped by old sins. Just stories, she'd thought. Now, fear choked her. "Open the door," she begged. He laughed, like wind through ruins. "You're theirs." Outside, the pumps shook, hoses leaking gray mist, forming hands, faces, figures in old clothes. The fog thickened, sky pulsing blue, like a heart in the clouds. Shadows rose, tall and thin, faces hollow, eyes glowing like dying coals. They whispered, "Tara, ... stay with us, ... She slammed the door, wood cracking, and ran to her car. The ground sank, like it wanted to swallow her. Shadows grabbed her arm, cold as ice, leaving star-like marks. She yanked free, dove in, keys slipping. The engine sputtered, died. Shadows pressed the windows, whispers loud. "Join the lost... Tara tried again, engine roaring. She sped off, fog swirling, the station fading. In the mirror, the old man stood, face a skull, eyes glowing blue. Whispers followed. "You're ours... The road keeps you... By morning, she reached a diner, hands shaking as she sipped tea. A cook, grizzled and kind, heard her. "Travelers. Rest," he said. "Built by drifters who made a pact with something dark. It traps souls for the ghosts. You got out, but they marked you." Tara reached her aunt's farm, tried to move on, but nights bring fog and whispers. Mirrors show pale faces. Her marks glow faintly, and the road calls. It's Gothic ghosts waiting to claim her. Story number 7. The Void's Gasoline. The scorching summer of 2024. Diego, a 28-year-old delivery driver, dreaming of his own taco truck, drove his battered van through Arizona's desolate desert, hauling groceries. The night was heavy, the sky a starless black, heat rising from the sand-like breath. His gas gauge hovered near empty when a sign flickered. "Void's End Gas, fuel for the lost." The station looked like a Gothic crypt, stone walls carved with swirling patterns. Windows glowing sickly purple, like bruised flesh. No lights broke the dark for miles. Diego's stomach twisted, but he pulled in, tires crunching gravel that shimmered like broken glass. The lot was cracked, earth steaming faintly. 2 pumps standing like tombstones, hoses thick, knotted, pulsing faintly. A deep hum vibrated below, alive, like a heartbeat from another world. Diego stepped out, sweat beading, the air thick with bitter oil, and a sharp smell, like burnt flesh. "Quick stop," he muttered, wiping his brow. He grabbed the nozzle, cold as frost in the heat. Gas flowed, black and glossy, sparkling like liquid stars, smelling of metal and decay. The pump's screen flickered, numbers jumping, then words, "Drink the void, become the dark, ... double quotes." Diego yanked the nozzle, splashing his hand. It burned, cold and sharp, leaving silver veins snaking across his skin. He stared, breath catching. Inside the store, the air was frigid, heavy with dust and a sour rot, like spoiled fruit. Shelves held cans with no labels, a jar of glowing pebbles, a clock with no hands. A flickering bulb cast shadows that twisted, like bodies. Diego's reflection in a cracked mirror showed his face, then another, behind eyeless, mouth a black hole. He spun, heart pounding. "Who's there?" he called. A radio crackled, spitting static and words. "The void drinks, ... the gasoline calls. Join the endless ... He grabbed a soda, tossed $1, and ran to the door. It was locked, handle rattling like bones. From a dark corner, a figure emerged. Woman, tall, gaunt, in a tattered black dress, face pale, eyes like twin voids. "You fed the void," she whispered, voice like wind through a cave. "It's awake now." "What's awake?" Diego demanded, boots scraping as he backed up. Her smile was sharp, teeth glinting. "The thing beyond. This station's a gate, built in 1875 by desert hermits who worshipped the dark between stars. The gasoline's their blood, pulling souls to the void." Diego's mind flashed to his abuelo's tales, Arizona's cursed sands, where spirits lured travelers to nowhere. Just tales, he'd thought. Now, fear gripped him. "Open the door," he said, voice shaky. She laughed, like cracking stone. "You're marked." Outside, the pumps shuddered, hoses spraying black liquid that ate the ground, opening cracks, glowing silver, like broken starlight. The sky churned, a vortex swallowing stars. Shadows rose. Story number 8 *, haunting lights in the desert sky, in the sweltering summer of 2025. Aisha, a 25-year-old photographer, chasing night skies for her portfolio, drove her old Jeep through New Mexico's vast desert, headed to a remote canyon. The night was heavy, the sky a black canvas, stars pulsing like distant hearts. Her gas tank was nearly empty when a neon sign flickered. "Sky's Edge Gas, Last Light." The station looked like a Gothic outpost, adobe walls cracked, spires jagged, like broken teeth, windows glowing eerie green, like sick fire. No lights pierced the dark for miles. Aisha's stomach knotted, but she pulled in. Tires crunching sand that glinted like shattered mirrors. The lot was barren, dotted with stones that shimmered faintly like eyes. 2 pumps stood, rusted, leaning, hoses coiled like vipers. A hum came from above, not mechanical, but alive, like a song from the stars. Aisha stepped out, camera around her neck, the air thick with heat and a metallic temps, like blood and dust. "Just gas, and gone," she whispered, breath uneven. She grabbed the nozzle, cold as ice in the heat. Gas flowed, dark, shimmering like liquid moonlight, smelling of ozone and rot. The pump's screen flickered, numbers jumping, then words. "See the lights. Join the sky, ... double quotes. Aisha yanked the nozzle, splashing her wrist. It burned, cold and stinging, leaving glowing marks, like tiny stars. She stared, heart racing. Inside the store, the air was freezing, heavy with dust, and a sour smell, like wilted flowers. Shelves held jars of glowing sand, maps of starless skies, a clock with hands spinning wild. A green bulb flickered, shadows slithering like snakes. Aisha's reflection in a cracked mirror showed her face, then another, behind eyeless, mouth leaking green light. She spun, heart pounding. "Who's there?" she called, voice shaking. A radio crackled, spitting static and words. "The lights call. The sky takes. Join the endless glow. ... She grabbed a water bottle, left $1, and ran to the door. It was locked, handle rattling like bones. From a shadowed corner, a man emerged, old, hunched, in a tattered robe, face pale as ash, eyes glowing green. "You fueled the lights," he rasped, voice like wind over dunes. "They see you now." "What's up there?" Aisha asked, sneakers scraping as she backed up. His grin was sharp, teeth glinting like stars. "The Sky's Keepers. This station's their altar, built in 1885 by stargazers who heard the lights sing. Gothic souls tied to a cosmic hunger. The gas feeds their glow, pulls you to them." Aisha's mind flashed to her dad's tales, New Mexico deserts, where lights danced, stealing travelers to the stars. Just myths, she'd thought. Now, fear clawed her. "Open the door," she begged. He laughed, like breaking glass. "You're theirs." Outside, the pumps shook, hoses spraying glowing liquid that burned the ground, opening cracks pulsing, green, like veins. The sky erupted, stars swirling into a vortex, lights dancing green, blue, red forming eyes. Mouths, hands reaching down. Shadows rose, tall, wispy, bodies like mist, eyes blazing green. They whispered, "Aisha, join the lights. ... She slammed the door, wood splintering, and ran to her jeep. The ground trembled, cracks glowing, pulling her feet. Shadows touched her arm, cold searing, leaving star-shaped burns. She yanked free, dove in, keys slipping. The engine sputtered, died. Shadows pressed the windows, whispers, screaming her fierce mom's death, lonely nights, her need to capture the sky. "No," she yelled, turning the key. The jeep roared. She sped off, sand flying, the station fading. In the mirror, the man stood, face a void, eyes glowing green. Whispers chased, "The lights know you. ... At a diner, Aisha shook, sipping coffee. A waitress overheard. "Sky's Edge," she said. "Built by folks who worshipped desert. Lights. The gas feeds something up there. Takes souls to shine forever. You got out, but you're marked." Aisha reached the canyon, took her photos, but nights bring terror. Stars pulse green, mirrors show glowing eyes, her burns shine faintly. The haunting lights in the desert sky call, their gothic hunger waiting to pull her up.